All right. Can you guys hear me okay? Mic check, mic check.
Yes, sir.
Ah, welcome. All right. Whoa. So how is everybody?
Good so far, sir.
Some is good. You guys would have done studio for the first time. Right. So how was the return to studio? You back on the horse?
Definitely, sir. Trying to be.
Yeah, man. So on to everybody else. I don't know. Nobody knows? This was like right after Melissa attendance level. We're still getting. Are you guys don't know? Nobody don't know? Person still having connectivity issues?
Yes, sir. I heard that a few were actually having that type of issue, like we've done.
Okay. Yeah, but this is more than a few. Or maybe persons just taking time. Persons just taking them time to come back online. All right. Well, you know the interesting thing today is just about basically is it our last class? No, it's like second to last. Let me look back on the where is this thing? There we go. Right. I think originally classes end on November 28th. Today is the 15th. Yeah. So basically next week would have been our last class for this module. This is like the second to last class, technically. So we're at the end, even though we have just been in the we've just passed the middle. Anyway, I do have some news for today. Was hoping that would have seen a bit more persons. More persons are coming in slowly. All right. While persons are coming in, let me see if there's any change since the last time I checked my performance, my grading report. Right. So yeah. All right. I have probably about 40% of persons that did the our first assignment, which is the poster. Remember guys, that's worth 15%. So like if anybody is here who haven't done it yet, forget about the exercises. You have to focus on the high yielding grades by now. Yeah, Rochelle.
Sir, a question regarding that assignment, right?
Mhm.
Is it the second one with the wireframe or the grid where you're supposed to choose one? Is that supposed to be a sketch?
It can be.
I think it's
It can be because I didn't specify. It's just the last one I specified needed to be with InDesign.
right.
Right.
Okay.
The first part and the last part. So the first part where we did the class activity, that has to be InDesign, naturally, and then the poster that you create have to be InDesign. But your wireframe doesn't have to be InDesign. It's recommended, but doesn't have to be. All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I was saying I was a bit concerned about the submissions, but I know that we're having some quite major disruptions. All right. So if you guys remember for DDM, right? Do I still have that presentation? No. Anyway, we have it here. So we have the studio-based assignment. That's the one that I tell you about 40 persons have submitted. Almost done marking that one. Right before Melissa, or was it after? I can't remember now. But right around that time, we had our assignment one, which is 25%, guys. This is major. Like, you cannot not do the assignment, definitely. So last week, we introduced the assignment, and I gave you guys, we talked about advanced modeling in SketchUp. So I'm hoping that most people should be like in the middle of the assignment now. Hopefully most people have finished modeling their building by now, and now they're just doing the rest of the work, right? So this one is 25%, guys, right? Now we did extend the due date for this. We don't really have a concrete due date because technically it would have probably been due like today or last week if you know, cause we kind of skipped 2 weeks out. For this one, remember it's 3 parts. The first thing is to model the building. I'm hoping everybody should have modeled the building by now. If you guys remember, I said that in the class recordings, if you go to the class recordings for the last class, I posted this bonus video here for anybody that might be having trouble modeling it. This separate video I had created here kind of gives you an idea of how to model it. I think I model it right up until the walls. The rest of it is up to you because I purposefully did not upload me modeling everything because it's an assignment, so you guys are supposed to like figure it out partially on your own. All right, but this kind of gets you started, right? So remember that is there. Also, in addition to this, let me go back here. If you guys take a look on the handout, what's making that so? If you go into if you look at the link to assessment files, right, if you take a look at the assessment files, this is where you get all of the things that you need for the model. Right. Go back here. Go back here. Okay. There we go. Right. So anyway, guys, so for this one here, last week we did a complete walkthrough of how you can do this in Photoshop. You guys should be able to do that, no problem. And of course, you would submit using the submission button here. Also add some tips there for you as well. So you're going to be delivering to me the SketchUp file of the model, the Photoshop file, and a JPEG with the background that we discussed, and the layout file and the PDF, right? That's this file here. So remember that I pretty much went through step 2 last week. So anybody that wasn't here last week, that video is very important because I take you through how do you line up the image, the model with the image and all of that stuff. All right, so you can go back and watch that. All right. Okay, so we had some discussions and some possible solutions with regards to the delayed timeline, because right now, normally at about this point with the original schedule, I would be giving you guys, you would be done with assignment already and you would be going into the final project. So what I've decided to do is to modify the final project for this semester, to make it taking out a major component out of it to make it a bit more palatable, but with it still carrying the same weighting, right? What do you guys think about that?
I have no problem, sir, with it.
Oh, I thought you would have said, no, sir, I want the full assignment. Huh? Anybody here want the full assignment instead of the stripped down one? Anybody? What about Tara? Is Tara here? Turn on my messages.
I'm
Tara,
here, sir.
what are you doing?
Yeah,
What you
I'm doing work.
Okay. What you say? You want the full assignment instead of the stripped down one?
Not gonna lie, I wasn't listening to the whole thing. I was just checking bits and pieces. This is the assignment after the
No.
assignment one. The major
This is the final project, right? Anyway, I just troubling you, but essentially what I'm saying, guys, is that I want to modify the assignment to make it easier to reduce the amount of workload, right?
Okay.
So
Maybe if you showed us a preview of the original and the modified, we could probably see if it works.
Yeah, man. I think I want to do that next week because I want to use all of today's class and encourage you guys to finish up the assignment we're currently doing. And for those of you who haven't done the portfolio one, that is in the yellow now or in the red, that should have been done already. I'm not going to bombard you with the final project this week. We'll leave that till next week, which is technically I believe is going to be our last class, right? But just so you know, the final project involves you modeling something, and it's a 3-part assignment like this. And the first part requires you modeling. Usually is either you model or you do 2D illustration in Photoshop. In Illustrator is an option between the two. So I want to remove that component entirely and just have you use the model that you are working on now, right? Which of course means even more important that you have to finish this current model for the assignment. All right, so that's as much as a preview I will give you, and that is kind of where I'm heading with the solution to dealing with that 2-week gap. And it's not only 2 weeks, because some persons are still kind of recovering. There's, especially if you are affected, it really kind of mess up your meds. You know what I mean? So to counteract that, the main part of the final project is to create a model. I think that takes the most time. So I say again, you will be using the model from your assignment 1 to do your final project, right? And that should hopefully balance us back out. So we'll talk about the final project next week, because today we have one more topic to go through, and that is going to be hybrid images, right? This is our final topic for this module. So as I said, guys, remember we were aiming to be finished 2 weeks before the 13-week time period. That was our aim. So by now you would have probably had your crits, and I figure your crits are going to be also kind of delayed. So my objective with you guys is this week, finish up the assignment. Next week, we talk about the final project, and you're going to be using the same model from that assignment in the final project. And that should make your final project take literally 2 days to finish, if so much. All right, I believe that will cut at least 60% of the workload of the final project. So that is the plan going forward. All right, now there are 2 more things to kind of learn for the final project, because I do introduce 2 more things. One of them is called hybrid images, which we're going to talk about today. And the other one is a little bit of website development, right? So the final project kind of introduces us to having an online presence. But that we're going to look on that next week, because that is super easy. This one though, hybrid images, is something that you're going to have to master over the years while you're here at CSA. I'm only going to introduce it to you today. Some of you probably know of this already, but this is where I introduce that concept to you. So before we get going, let's see, we have some more people here. That's good. I have some stuff we're going to go through. We might be using SketchUp and Photoshop today, right? That's another thing I have done, by the way. We're not having any more class activities. Usually we would have had a couple of additional class activities by now. Instead, what it is that if you're here in class, we work on it while you're here in class. But I'm not going to add any more class activities, because as I said, we're almost at the end of the module. All right, so let's talk about hybrid imaging. Well, right before I go through that, anybody have any questions on the plan going forward? No questions? Everybody is in agreement?
Yes, sir.
I hear from Raheem. I don't hear from Joel. I don't hear from who else? From Carla yet. Okay, thumbs up all around. All right, cool. I guess this is a no-brainer, right? Let's work. We are grateful. All right. Let's talk a little bit about hybrid images. All right. Okay, cool. So, hybrid images. Right before we get in, I want to show you guys this video. This is from one of my most recommended web channels, YouTube channels for you guys during architecture school. If you haven't saved this one, then please save it after today. But I just check out this one video because I wanted to show this to you guys.
What's up guys, Graphics in here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about why you should use the collage style, also called as post-digital style, during architecture school.
All right, now if you'd see, what you will notice is that hybrid images, the name has kind of evolved over the years. I think originally this was known as hybrid images. So on your class handout, on your coursework outline, it will say hybrid images. But nowadays, people kind of refer to it as architectural collage or post collage. It's the same thing. The word hybrid simply means that you are combining different techniques together, right? So does a collage. A collage means you're combining different graphics together. So a more modern name for it would be architectural collage, right? And it's a specific style that you might see. It's pretty much everywhere. But we're gonna kind of do a little introduction to this kind of style of visualizing your work. It is very heavy on technology, Photoshop, Illustrator, SketchUp, that kind of stuff. So I want to show you this quick video to just give you a roundup of some of the advantages of this, especially during architecture school.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
All right, so let's jump forward.
Alright, so in this video, I'm going to point out the benefits of going for this type of illustration. I'm also going to show what you should look for while creating and composing these drawings, and talk a little bit about the potential of different human figures in architecture images. Alright, we all know how time demanding architecture school is. It doesn't matter in which part of the world you are in, during the semester there are tons of projects going on at the same time. You still have theory exams in the middle of a project due week, maybe also competition going on. It's a complete mess. Time is short, and with each project you've got to design the architecture building or landscape urbanism project. You also have to create good looking plans, sections, elevations, diagrams, concepts, details, and of course 3D images. And here's where things get even more complicated. You start school and usually you know nothing about architecture, but you start to see those ultra realistic, amazing renders that portray a unique atmosphere, and you seek that as something you want to achieve with your own designs.
All right, you guys following so far? I just had to pause it here because every time I show this video, I have to ask, does anybody get this meme? This meme?
Yes, sir,
Oh,
from Game of Thrones.
okay. All right. I've I wonder, there were videos that I used in the past, and every year, you know, there's always some meme in some video or another, right? So eventually I had to change it out to a newer video. you know, because the memes get old after a while. So I was just wondering if this one get too old for now, or you guys still, you know, get that one. Anyway, well, so far that's only one person. Anybody else? Nobody else? Anybody get that reference, that meme? Nobody else? Where's everybody today? Hmm? Um, all right, we're going to continue. Everybody else here? Joel, I don't hear from you from your reach. You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're hanging in there.
See those ultra realistic,
All right.
amazing renders that portray a unique atmosphere, and you seek that as something you want to achieve with your own designs. But let me be honest here with you, it takes time to achieve such results, time to learn how to set up all the settings on the render engine, and even more time to let it render through the night where you're supposed to be using your PC for something else. Now let me share what I saw during architecture school years.
All right, guys. So, especially after this module, you guys are going to be using the computer a lot, right? And I know that the objective is to get some, you know, we might want to get some really high-end renders for exteriors and interiors. I'm going to eventually see you guys again in a course called 3D modeling, where we learn about rendering and all this stuff. And one thing I can tell you, I mean, there are many rendering programs out there. And the good thing is that you guys kind of are in the age where render programs are a little bit easier. Twinmotion, D5, Enscape, they are less complicated than, for example, a 3D Studio Max or a Blender, right? So that's good. And this technique that that we're going to look at now is one that is even quicker than even one of those render programs, and just maybe even more potent whenever you present your work to your lecturers. So let's continue.
Architecture school years. If you're going to present your project for your architecture professors, they would rather see you thinking outside the box and really showcasing your ability to express yourself than showing off a realistic like render. So that's where these collage post-digital illustrations come in. First of all, they are much easier to do. In just a couple of minutes you can produce an outstanding image with whichever software you're most comfortable with. More on that later on the video. Also, there are no rules here. You've got so much room to create. You can really use the composition at your will. You do not have to follow realism guides. Skies don't have to be blue, shadows can be modified or non-existent, textures and colors can be emphasized. Of course, at the end of the day, you want to portray your architecture design, so it has to have proportions and a correct sense of perspective. But other than that, you can pretty much do anything. For example, you can use a color palette throughout the whole board composition and then apply it on your collage. You can make it all black and white and emphasize a specific element with your color scheme so you draw attention to that area. There are many ways to better present your design, and I guarantee you that the professors will really value those intentions. Hey, listen, I know usually during a university project you won't be able to solve all four corners of your building. I've been there. So use the project's images at your favor. Frame the image and compose in such a way that it looks like you've got everything under control, but in reality you solved more of this area than the other one. And of course there's no problem about that, but with the realistic renders it's not easy to pretend this. During architecture school you need to learn the whole picture, understand the process and learn to think like an architect. So don't let small details that will need a bit more time to solve stop you from creating amazing projects. I like to think that collaging lets you use excuses to create great results, direct viewers' eyes to what's essential, and really show off your ability to express thoughts and ideas as an architect. The last reason why you should use collage and post-digital techniques is singularity. You can develop your own style that you can be remembered for. There are some famous architecture offices like Fall Atelier and some others that are known for their style. I'm going to link all of them on the video description if you'd like some references. Alright, now let's talk about the key points you should look for to achieve a great result in this style. The first one is treat each image as a unique paint, because every element of your illustration is important. It's not all about the architecture building itself, but more on the environment where the design is placed and how the project interacts with the surroundings. The second item is the sky, which balances out the composition, so make sure to leave room to your project breathe. Try not to cramp everything in a small image. Now, if we're talking about interior collage, of course there's no sky in it, but you can leave some ceiling in. And this point leads me to the third item, which is canvas proportions. Your image doesn't have...
Now, what we're going to do before we jump into some of these, what do you guys notice with some of these images? Anybody? Like even this one. How would you describe this, Carla? Hold on, did I not pause? Meaning, is it real? Is it cartoony? Is it weird? If it's weird, why is it weird? Hold on.
I think it gives off like artistic vibes, like the coloring and stuff.
All
Like the
right.
way the trees look watercolor-ish.
Right. And this kind of thing. So before we go into some of the, the tips of doing it, because my objective is for us to do a little collage today as a part of the class activity. I have a model I can give you guys to work it out. Because for your final project, you're gonna have to do a hybrid image, right? Don't worry, it's like super simple to do. But there's a kind of power that you can possess from learning this technique, right? So I want to dive in before we continue this. I want to kind of dive into what is a hybrid image collage. Hold on. All right, let me just change my option real quick. Gotta go into my slideshow settings and bam. Oh, wrong screen. Bam. There we go. All right. So, hybrid image collage, this is a technique that I want you guys to try to practice to master, right? It is a way of expressing your ideas that is not tied to reality. And because it's not tied down in literal reality, you have the freedom to do any kind of expression that you want to do. And usually it comes across even more meaningful than a regular photograph or even a realistic rendering, right? So a hybrid collage image is the fusion of, let's call it, different drawing styles layered over each other. Anybody recognize this image? Brianna? Do you know where this is, Brianna?
Yes, sir. That's the CSA building.
Can't miss it, right? The big blue that they finally recently painted and the curved stairs. But then it's not quite the CSA building, right? You can see that it's kind of remixed a little bit. These images, some of these images that I'm showing you are actually, it was actually the 2021 UTech calendar. I remember I made a proposal to do the calendar, the design for the calendar, and the idea is that I got some past students at the time to work on some hybrid image collages, and the idea was to just use some areas around the campus to create a hybrid image collage, and each collage would be for a different page, right? So it was pretty cool. I mean, that's from 2021, so that passed and gone already. I have a copy somewhere. I can find the digital files here. But it was quite an interesting process. I think I got like 5 students, and they did get paid for it, right? Because it was an actual job. And the interesting thing is they said that, oh, it feels like we're back in DDM, but the difference is we're getting money instead of grades, right? I don't know if we'll do that again in the future. Who knows? But some of the images here I took from the calendar because I thought it was like an excellent example. So, right. So this is what a hybrid image collage is. Different people have different names for it. Like the guy in the video called it a post collage illustration. The reason why they put post in there is because post means after. So after the render, you do stuff to it, or after you took the photo, you do. It's like what you said, the word post production, meaning you're editing thing after you have produced it. That's why they call it post. We just call it a hybrid image collage. That's basically what it is. Right. So these are the two channels that I think you guys should definitely have in your collection, right, of channels. And they've been around because I think I started to put this in from like, I think 2021. 2021? No, probably before. Right about 2021. And they're still around. They basically go through, they focus on architectural illustration techniques, anything from rendering, Photoshop, and stuff like that. There's like lots of other channels that do this. Like, I'm not going to give you like a list of 10. I'm just going to give you a list of ones that I found useful, right? I have another kind of introduction to what it is here. But, you know, I just wanted to kind of show this image, and then we'll talk about it a little bit to kind of break down like what, you know, what's the inspiration? How do can I use this type of image to present my work? Most definitely. What is so special about it, and in what situations we can use this kind of collage image? Oh man, did I? Actually, wait, right. This was the video that we were watching. So we'll come back to the rest of it a little later. This was another one. Okay. Hold on, PowerPoint is saying I need to update. Okay. Oh, thanks a lot, PowerPoint. Okay, I think I got it. Let's do it here. There we go.
Architects that use collage in different types of techniques for their projects, we need to talk about something different than architecture. We need to talk about art, because art is where much of the inspiration for the collages come from, right? Artists like David Hockney artists like Hopper, artists maybe inclusively like Picasso or many more were very key components for architectural representation and for people who wanted to represent their architecture in a different way. So if we look at David Hockney's paintings, he he set up his architecture, his Californian type of architecture, in a very perfect, very minimalist kind of way, with human figures that just fit in the whole image. And he had a specific color palette, a color palette that was very from California, right? So it was a lot of pinks, a lot of blues from different pools, and a lot of greens. So that was his color palette. And I think when we analyze David Hockney's different kinds of paintings, drawings, photo collages, we can take some information from that, about, okay, so he used this specific color palette. How can I create my own color palette for my context? If I live in, I don't know, Colombia, I live in Colombia, I have maybe a set of greens, a set of, very warm colors. Another artist is maybe David Hopper, or maybe we can find inspiration in some movies, some text, and we can all see how we can apply that information to our architecture drawing. So the invitation here is not to only stay in our world of architecture and architecture super architects, but that we go outside of this world and we look at different artists. Maybe we can look at musicians. Maybe we can look at different films. Maybe we can look at, I don't know, different kinds of cinema. And from that, we can gather some inspiration on visual representation, maybe some specific techniques, and we can gather those and represent them in our collages. We can get inspiration from Hockney, from Hopper, but we can also get inspiration from Raphael. We can also get inspiration from Picasso. We can also get inspiration from Francis Bacon. So it really depends on what kind of things you want to portray in your drawings, and artists and art will help you get to that. Okay,
So
finally, it's
the
time
the
to talk about the
reason
new wave, right? Why are we?
the reason why we talk about that is how we coming back to this image. It's not about trying to represent exactly whatever illustration you're showing. It's kind of blending what you're trying to communicate from an architectural standpoint, but with art mixed in with it, right? And that is what the hybrid image collage really is. It's this fusion of the logical, this is the building, this is what it looks like, this is the entrance, whatever. But then also now with a little bit of artistic creativity. Because if you look on even some of the art pieces that were featured in that little intro, where is it? Here. Right. No, not that one. Oh, hold on. I'll come back to you in a bit. Here we go.
So
Right. If you look in some of the paintings that were in this, regardless of the name of the artists, because different artists will have different styles. What you notice is that it's not perfectly, in some cases, it's not perfectly, I'm gonna make up a word here, perspectively represented. Like it's not very geometric or mathematical in the way that the 3D world is presented. You know what I mean, guys? The vanishing point isn't exactly here. Like it isn't exactly 90 degrees. It isn't exactly an axonometric. You know what I mean? Even if you look on this, like even the way that this texture is represented here, like it's not represented 100% accurately in the 3D world. If you take something and you put it in SketchUp or some 3D program, there are rules that it has to obey. This thing bends this corner, so light here's one side will be brighter, one side will be duller. Those are just rules that they have to obey by. But when you look on like an artist painting, they don't really follow that rules. Like look on the size of these steps and the size of these steps. Like the proportions it's not about the mathematical accuracy. It's more about the expression of the image. So in the world of art, that is kind of what takes the front seat. In architecture, like, yes, we're expressing art, but a part of all right. Mic check. Yes, I'm here. Yeah, a part of architecture is also science. So when you present an image to your lecturers, and they say, it looks lovely, but the thickness of that beam doesn't seem quite right. That cantilever, how is it supported? What's the width of those? What's the height of these risers? You know what I mean? Like, but a hybrid image is not meant for you to judge it with these pragmatic definitions. It's more of an expressionary visualization, right? It's not completely this, because this is straight up art. Like if you look at some other examples here, like even this. I don't know. Tori, are you here? Tori? If no audio, you can always just type story here. Tori, she's finding the thing. Yes, maybe. What about Khalifa?
Sir?
Right. You see in this image, Khalifa?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it look like a kid's drawing, don't it? It's not quite geometrically correct.
I
Wouldn't you
mean,
say?
you're right, sir, but I wouldn't call it a kid's drawing because
Ah,
art is subjective.
exactly. It is expressing something. You get what I'm saying? So you're not looking to this for, what's the height of this gate that's here and the angle of this roof is that's not the objective. It's expressing something. And it's in this world of objectivity. So you can't really put these rigid rules on it when you're trying to define it. So this is what a hybrid image collage is. It's mixing this, but with some architecture in it. You know what I mean? Um, and this is what that first video was saying. It was saying, hey, your lecturers don't mind you have your building and maybe there's a sheet in your presentation that is something like this. Do, wouldn't you think that some of your lecturers might get excited, like, whoa, what are you saying here? Wow, what is this saying? You know what I mean? Because it has a kind of a story to it when you go off the path of logic and pragmatic and mathematical, you kind of go over to this other artsy world. So anyway, hybrid image mixing architecture with art, right? Art is kind of in this world where it doesn't have all the rules. It doesn't have to abide by all of the rules. You look on this image and it is speaking to you, just the colors, the size of these arches. You're not looking at it through a logical lens of, hold on, this perspective is weird. No, it's saying something else. So when we come back to our thing here of a hybrid image collage, we want to mix different types of ideas, mix different types of media, meaning it's photographs, 3D models, CAD drawings, whatever media you're using, even hand drawings, and you want to fuse them together with some kind of interesting technique, right? So for example, on the left here, I have a photograph. And what I did here is these are taken from these are representation, an artistic representation of something that is real. So I went ahead and find the real thing, the real photo, right? And then there are presentations that's comparing the same thing. So if you look on the left and you look on the right, you see that it's talking about the same space. On the left is a photograph, but on the right, it's like, hold on, I can see that it's the same space, but it's saying something different, right? It's speaking to you about maybe the texture. Like this type of wood texture, maybe it was a key part of the design. As you can see it here. It's not like realistically, it's not like the entire building is made of this wood texture, right? Um, all right, you guys following? Can you guys see the difference here when you kind of look at it and you say, this is an artistic impression of something that is real. And this is kind of what we're aiming for with a montage, right? Now, there are different techniques here. Like this is a section from an architectural point of view. Oh, it's a section of a building. But then that's all it really takes from architecture. It kind of branches off. Like, yes, there's a scaled figure there. So you get an idea of the scale and it communicates, oh, you can look over into this space. Like maybe the idea of this whole presentation, maybe one of the things you wanted to highlight was, you can look over into this interesting space here. And all of these are really just setting. It's just an artistic setting to help set the environment. And everything here is kind of 2D. But in the world of architecture, we don't get a blank check as it relates to creativity, and we can just go totally wild. You know what I mean? Like we were just looking on this image here. This is nice, but in architecture school, you don't have the license as if you were in art school. You know what I mean? It's still architecture. You still are communicating something about the design that you are doing. So with that said, this is communicating something in architecture, but it is not doing it in a solely mathematical, pragmatic way, right? So I don't know. What do you think, Rochelle? Do you see that coming out of this comparison?
No, sir. Still really weak to me.
Oh, well, okay, rhyme. Cool. It's still what you say, it's still unique to you?
Yes, sir.
Perhaps a little weird. All right, cool. I was waiting to hear what Rochelle. Rochelle, you there? Coming soon here?
Sir?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You saw the comparisons here? You can see the screen, okay?
Sorry, sir. What do you say?
No, can you
It's
see
still
this?
kind of breaking up for me.
Oh, all right, cool. All right, well, look, can you see the comparisons here between something that is realistic, but then something that is a hybrid image collage, a kind of imaginative
Oh,
interpretation.
yes, sir.
Right. All right. So, for example, this is another one here. For this one, this is a photo when it was under construction, but then this is a presentation of look at this idea. Um, Gordon, are you here, Gordon? Uh, are you fully live? Connection issues or mic issues? Maybe connection issues. Okay. All right. Yeah, man. I know how it is. Shamario, do we have Shamario here? Remember, if for any reason you have connection issues, you can also type, right? Don't worry about it. Remember, we have the recording afterwards, so you can get to watch it in nice, smooth quality afterwards. All right, I don't hear from Shamario. All right, I will just jump back to Joel. Are you with us, Joel?
Yes, sir.
On the hybrid image collage on the right, what do you think was the objective of this illustration? Like, what is it? On the left, you're seeing the real thing, right? But on the right, obviously, it's not like photoreal. It's not like a 3D model that is 100% accurate, right? So, what do you think was trying to be expressed in the image on the right? What design ideas or design concepts?
What design idea or design concept?
Yeah. So for example, the image on the right is not like realistic in terms of the way that it's presented, right? Um, but it's also saying something architecturally, right?
It, it's to show basically how the um I guess how the space is meant to look or feel.
I like how you use the word feel. All right.
Yeah.
What what about the feel is it expressing?
Um, like a calm, relaxed, I
Yeah,
guess.
fine. Yeah, that is what you call experiential. But also in architecture, we're also logical. We talk about height and width and proportions and that kind of stuff. So architecture is a mixture of art and science, right? But in this hybrid image collage, it's also a mixture. It's a mixture of art, because obviously it's not like scientifically correct. The proportions and the perspective isn't like 100% correct, but it's also art. It's expressing something. So yes, it's expressing the feel, and it is, if you look on the real thing, on the left is the real image, on the right is the hybrid image collage. And what two similarities you notice between them, Joel? What are the similarities that you notice that stand out to you the first thing that jump out to you as the similarities between them?
The thing in the middle, the painting.
The painting, what do you mean? When you say the thing in the middle?
The the repeated, the black and white
Come
parts.
on, the material,
Yes.
right? Exactly. So the objective, one of the things that maybe this hybrid image wanted to express is not necessarily the accuracy of it. The height of this window is 5 feet. No, it's the feeling of the space because of the material that it is intended to represent. Right? Right? So that is kind of what a hybrid image kind of is. Like, this is the one that we saw on the cover on the front of the presentation. And this is the same task that was given that we took on ourselves when we were doing these images around CSA. We're like, okay, let's express CSA as a hybrid image, and the thing about a hybrid image, it's not trying to be accurate, as I keep saying. It's not trying to be accurate. It's not trying to show you exactly what is there. It's trying to express or say something, maybe some things more than the other, right? Um, this one was from Nicholas Garden. This is in 2021. So he did this, and how we did this, we came up with ideas. Some of them were kind of sketched out, and we kind of go back and forth with the ideas a little bit until we finalize it, right? And this one was a kind of it is almost like it's saying, I'm trying to go a little bit from memory, but you have the, what do you call it now? Let's say structured representation by these kind of geometric shape. That's a part of what architecture is. There's a lot of discussion about form and that kind of stuff. That's a lot of things that is involved in all of your design studios from first year all the way to fourth year, all the way to masters. That is a key theme throughout CSA, organizing forms, and this is the way that they choose to express it, right? Through using these elements that are here. And then, also the color as well. The foreground is in black and white, the background is removed so that you can see all these things together. So one of the features that you notice of a hybrid image is what I like to call layering. So you can kind of see that the trees are in the foreground, the background is changed, the midground have the building, then there are these graphics there. So it's not following the rules of, oh, this is a photograph. You know what I mean? Some of the, like this area down here is not how CSA looks, right? If you remember, there's a walking path here. All of these trees are not here. That's what I'm saying. It's not trying to be accurate. It's just trying to express something. But you know that it's talking about CSA for sure, right? This was another one that was used in the calendar as well, right? And this was a combination of different graphics, different photos from different places. Any ideas? What do you think this one here is expressing? Anybody?
Sir, it feels very industrial.
Industrial, right? And you recognize where it is, right? Pretty obvious, right?
Yes, sir, the front gate.
Right. But I'm glad you say it feels very industrial. Anything else comes from this image?
Sir, I think it feels inviting because of the warm tones,
Cool, cool.
and which is very interesting because, anyways,
Because it may not be that case. But okay, cool, cool. There's a lot of things happening behind the walls. Yeah, go ahead, Duncan.
Sir, I was just going to say possibly it's like a metaphor for the school itself, like being a gateway to technology. So,
Right. But not only technology, because there is other stuff that's there. There's all kinds of, maybe Ryan would say all kinds of weird stuff happening behind the gate. What you say, Ryan? Right?
Sir, wouldn't necessarily say weird, but it does kind of seem, but it's not following what UTech has in its background.
Right.
That's the one
And
thing
that's
that
the,
just kind
all
of throw me
right.
off.
Exactly. And that is the power of a hybrid image. That's why I say it's a mixture of art, meaning you're not bound to the rules, but because we're talking about it in the context of architecture, you are bound to architecture. Like we are talking about UTech, but then we're expressing something beyond just a photo of it. Now, in this case, it's a photograph because a hybrid image can be just photos. But a hybrid image can also be your design, your model, your assignment that you did where you created a model of something. You can create an expression piece from that model and you can put it up on as a part of your presentation because this is speaking to a lot. In this case, all of these things are what UTech has to offer. It's a mixture of the way that it's combined, it's art, but then when you look on the mixture behind it, you can see buildings, you can see some kind of biology-ish looking thing, you can see electronics, then you see these graphics all the way. There are charts, maybe the charts are bars, maybe they are measuring stuff like whatever it is. Like the thing is, it is a playground that you can play around with this kind of hybrid image. Right? And this is why I said that it's not something that you're going to master in like one class. Like I'm introducing it to you now, and you might look at it and say, "Oh, that's nice and artsy or whatever." But you know, it's something that I I'm gonna at least try to show you how to begin to think about doing images like this, right? Especially using your designs, because it's a way of expressing the design that you're doing. All right. So these are some other ones that were done. I'm going to kind of go through. What am I doing on time? Right. I don't think we don't want to stay here too late today because we just need to kind of cover this topic. Right. These are some other ones. A lot of this is with photos. Anybody recognize this building?
Juicy, sir.
What was that? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Is
Oh,
this
right.
juicy?
Exactly. Oh, right. Juicy, right. Exactly. Right. So, I mean, like imagine that you were designing some kind of aquarium or aquarium building. Obviously, you're not going to have a giant stingray as the roof of your building, but if this was on your presentation board, you know, when you pin up, and this is a part of your expression of your building, it would be like, whoa, you know, you get it, you know, because it is an aquarium, right? I mean, I'm just saying, imagine. So I'm saying that you can use this method to express the ideas of your building in ways that you're not bound to reality. All right. All right. So a part of there's this one as well. This one was from the master's group. This was a study of Oterius. Anybody from that side? Anybody familiar with down with up north? Ochi? Anybody recognize this road? Maybe not. I mean, probably most of us been, but probably saying, I don't know where that road is, but that's fine. This image is not it's not trying to like be a photograph. This was a part of a study of Oterius, and in that study, they had just it had very practical things. What is the width of the road? What are the heights of the buildings? You know, what is the congestion? What is the traffic pattern? Where are the businesses located? Where are the residences located? Like they are very practical, pragmatic things that had to be captured in the study. Things that are mathematical in nature, right? But also as a part of that study, it had to be expressed. How do you feel? What does this communicate in a different channel? Not the channel of mathematics and logics but the channel of how does it make you feel and what do you think is happening and what is this trying to say and that kind of stuff. So this is on DaCosta Drive. And what was communicated here is that because you had these huge, you had a very wide road and then these 2 to 3 story buildings on each side. And it kind of felt like just this giant empty, I guess you could say drain. Like, so the red in the middle represents, okay, so this figure is a lonely figure in this very wide, the road was very wide and empty. And then it had these buildings on either side that just kind of form almost like a wall. You know what I mean? So it's almost like being in like a big culvert or something made out of concrete, and you're just in the middle of that. So this was a kind of expression of that as well. And this is also a hybrid image. It's using photographs, it's using line work and that kind of stuff. So this was a picture of that presentation sheet. On the left-hand side, you had very practical things. The width of the road, the distance from the building to the road, the distance from the walkway. Then there is a plan showing what does this intersection look like, what it actually looks like. And then there was this sketch of that intersection. But apart, so on the left-hand side is the logical, the mathematical. But on the right-hand side is it's expressing something else, something that cannot be communicated in the logical. All right, you guys follow me so far? Have I lost anybody? You getting the idea here?
Yes, sir. So where exactly in Ochi is that?
Yeah, but, all right. This is you have like the main street, but and what is do that's one way, and if you wanted to come back around,
Oh,
you take that turn, that little mini roundabout, and you come around and then you go back
yes, yes,
around, right?
I
So
know
that
it.
is Da Costa right there. Right, 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 right. So this is what architecture is, and this is why I don't want you to leave computing class and you'll be like, oh yeah, man, I know how to model and build something in 3D, and we'll put it in Photoshop and we whatever. Like, yeah, that's part of it, but there is also this part of it where all of those very technical tools that you use, you still have to find a way to tie it back to art because that's how you express something. If everything is just 3D models and Photoshop and pretty backgrounds and nice renderings in Lumion or whatever, then it you miss the opportunity to express something interesting. And the other thing about it, all of these images that I'm showing you, like it's not immediate when you look at them. It's almost like it give your brain some space to interpret. Like when you watch those movies and they're in a art gallery and you see this big painting with a little dot in the middle and everybody, wow, look at that. Look at the way this dot is so interesting. Anybody know what I mean? Have anybody been to any final year show at Edna Manley? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Right. So just like how architecture has a final year show, Edna Manley has one too. And when I was in architecture school, I used to go as well, hopefully if the dates work out, because it is wild. It is just wild. It is just like, there are some things you look at and you're like, oh, this is so good, this looks so good. And then other things you're like, you turn your head sideways and you're like, okay, what is that? You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that we need to get to that level, but I'm just saying that taps into something that is not measurements and distances and areas and stuff that we do in architecture. That's only half the story. There's this other interesting one that was here. This was also a photo. And this one was pretty cool. All right, so this one is also Ocharius. And what this was saying is, let me put it on the sheet with everything else. So on the left-hand side, you kind of have the street, and it's a blow up of the street. And this is kind of showing the traffic patterns. But then at this point right here, specifically at this point, once you pass this threshold in the red, the traffic is crazy. It's like you've come from this very empty, like if you look on the right here, it's like almost empty. Once you pass this threshold, it's absolute chaos. So if I stand at this point and look left, this is what I'm looking at. And if I look right, this is what I'm looking at. So one is like chaos and taxis and cars and noise and then when you turn around, it's like calm and mountains and So that was interesting. But how do you communicate this interesting thing? Like, yeah, you could show it on a map, like, okay, there's a line here, and this way is chaos and this way is calm, right? Here's another diagram of it, you know, right? So this is this is something else that is really cool in architecture diagrams. We'll look at that further down when we're doing computing. But this image here was also communicating that. And what this was saying is that there, where you see this line here in the middle, that is the threshold. It's like, hey, when you pass this line, you're entering into chaos. That's what this image is representing. You're entering into, you know what I mean? And, that is something to be expressed. And, just showing it on a map or photos isn't as, what's the word? Interesting as expressing it as some kind of art piece, right? All right, you guys following me so far? Anybody see this one? Can you connect with what this is saying?
Yes, sir.
Right, and guess what, guys? This is stuff you do in masters. Like, yeah, I mean, you do other stuff, research and that kind of stuff as well. But then this is, architecture is it's the most interesting course in the world. It's like it makes you tap into. You have to be very logical, right? With square footages and you have to stick to the program and all that. But then there's this art part of it. And if that didn't exist, then there wouldn't be architecture. You would just go to a draftsman for him to draw a box, and say, here is your house, go and live in it, or here is the school, go and teach in it. But when you mix architecture in it now, there is other stuff apart from, oh, it must have a kitchen and a bathroom and a bedroom. There is no other kind of ways of expressing other aspects, culture and climate and all these other stuff. But anyway, right. So anyway, there's a couple other examples here in this presentation. But what I want to do is I want to use some of the time for us to kind of check out, like, okay, so this hybrid image thing looks pretty cool, but how do I even begin to do it? Like, and the answer to that is it's not exactly like it's not a program like I can teach you in Photoshop. This is what this button does. If you follow what I do and click this button, it will do the same thing. With a hybrid image collage, it's a little different because it has to come from you, and then you also have to get some practice in it, right? So to kind of break it down, what I've done on our mirror board, if you look over in the tips, section here, tips and guides, I created this little part here that kind of hopefully break down what it is, and we're going to try and create one. Hopefully everybody here has SketchUp and Photoshop ready. Let me open mine in the meantime. All right, so if you have SketchUp, you can just draw for it real quick. And let me open SketchUp as well. Right. Now, what I've done, I've just literally grabbed, what is this, about 15 or so random images from the internet. They're random. But all of these are hybrid image collage. Like if you Google it, you will get a million. If you're a Pinterest fan, if you Pinterest it, you will get 2 million, right? This is a very popular thing. It's almost like you need to get this before you leave architecture school, right? Because it helps to split your brain. It helps you to connect the science part of your brain, the art part of your brain, you know? The science part that deal with modeling and extrusion and and Photoshop and illustration. And then there's the art way of, this building, I want it to express this thing and I want it to feel this way. You know what I mean? That's what this technique does. So I'm gonna just pick some random ones here, right? And show you some. So this can you guys see the screen okay? Is it blurry for anybody? Anybody can see it all right? Yes. Thumbs up, confirm. Good. You can see it. Good. Good. All right. So this is one. And again, you look on it like it's not, it's almost like, I don't remember which student said, sir, it don't make sense. Like it makes sense. I can see what it's saying, but it don't like it's not a photo. It's not a rendering. It's what is it? Exactly. It's a collage. So this is one. And if you look on it, like you can see where there's different photos that's used. The photos are just literally pasted together. Maybe randomly you can kind of see that this picture cut here, this picture cut here, this have this red thing there. Like let's use one with a building in there, like this one. Like this is obviously like a building, but what can I get see if I can space it out a little bit. Let me give them some room. Yeah. And let me change the background. Where is this thing? Board color. Let's make it dark gray. Yeah. All right, good. Let me throw this one out to not much people to choose from today. Is Austin here? Austin, you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I just throw this image at you. I mean, you don't know any background about the design, nothing like that, who did it or whatever. But if you were to kind of try and figure out what this person is doing in this image, what would you say it's doing for you? Like, what are you seeing come from it? What are you seeing communicated from it?
Um, Materiality for one.
Cool.
I think the designer is, or the architect is trying to emphasize the materiality of the building that he's doing, and then I get high contrast.
Right,
The
right,
building
right.
is really the focal point. But yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And how you know that? Because, I mean, there's this big red triangle there. Like, sorry, it's not it's not a logical background. Like, sorry. Yeah, it's not like it's a logical background. You know what I mean? But it's definitely pulling your eyes to this building. It's expressing something. So this is kind of what a hybrid image is. It's like it's usually you try to say something with it. It's not random, especially as it relates to architecture. Sometimes it's saying something specific, like for example, maybe this one here. This is specifically maybe talking to you about the street or this area here that is between these buildings. And the way that it do that, I mean, it's not trying to do any kind of photorealistic. All it doing is everything else is white, but you can clearly see the street. It's about the street, right? But then some are even more wild, like this one. And guess what? Some of these, I don't even necessarily know what it's saying, but when you couple it with your presentation, like what I was showing you just now, um, in the presentations in the study in Ocharius. I show you this image and you're like, what's that? This red dot, what's, and then when you see it together, like, oh, so this is expressing what you're saying here on the left. So a hybrid image normally is a part of the idea that you're trying to communicate. I just kind of pluck these randomly from the internet, so I don't know the rest of this story. My job here is to show you or to lead it on a path of what buttons you can press to get techniques like this. But ultimately you have to create your own kind of style. And that's the other part of a hybrid image. You will end up just developing your own expressionist style per se, right? Um, let me just pick another one here. Like even look on this one here. Like maybe it is that this is your project here in the background. You know what I mean? And it's showing all this in the foreground. Maybe it's communicating that look, people they can look out and see the river and da da da, and look, here is my building right here. You know what I mean? And the way that it does that is not by making it look photorealistic, it's just using some little things. So one theme that you might notice in all of this is like the layering. Like you can see that then this is on top of this here. This square is in the background. Like there's a kind of a layering to it. You know what I mean? You can almost see like this is the cover of a portfolio, right? Like you guys, if you have to do a portfolio, this is a cover. You can see that layering again. You can see this building, this background, this frame that's here with the birds, and then this tree. You know what I mean? And this is a cover page for your portfolio. So a hybrid image can be so many different things. It's like I'm introducing this to you, and it's almost like a world where there's no rules. It can be a cover page, it can be a very practical thing as a part of your presentation, or it can just be a work of art by itself. All right. There's another interesting one here. Like, you know what I mean? Look at even the interesting textures in the background. Like you can see there's people here. You can see that it's about the building that's right here. You know, it's like an art piece. All right. So, usually with these kind of images, um, I like to say there are some major categories that you can consider for each of these. Copy. Right. So let's go with this one that we were looking on before. Right. So for any hybrid image collage, usually there is some kind of theme, some kind of objective, some kind of narrative, something. Like it's not random stuff just mushed together in a pot. Right? You're trying to express the building. A lot of it is about the building. Like this, Austin was saying, yeah, man, your eyes are drawn to the building. Like, yeah, maybe that's the objective. That is the narrative. That is the whole purpose of this. Next, there's what you call what representation or what technique is used here. Like you can see that, okay, there's some kind of a model that's here. It have these triangular polygonal base that's here, right? Then this is a flat square in the background, and then there's this textured wall. So technique, it's like if you look on some of the images I showed you earlier, it's photographs. So the technique would be, oh, it's a photograph mixed with a silhouette or some kind of graphic. Those are what the techniques are. Abstract graphics, this is usually a big part of a hybrid image. Like look on the ground here. Like obviously this may not be, this is not trying to represent the actual ground, right? Usually a hybrid image has some kind of abstract feature. And this abstract feature is not trying to be accurate or realistic. At the same time, as an architecture student, it saves you time because you're not trying to be like if you've ever tried to represent something in 3D and you see something that is an error. In the world of hybrid images, it's not an error, it's abstract, right? This ground here is not an error, it's abstract, right? And then there's the graphical layering. You can see that this tree is in front of this red thing is behind this thing. You can kind of see the redness coming there. Then you have this hedge thing between the red thing and the trees behind that. Then you have this person that is in front. There's a kind of layering of different ideas together. You kind of see a lot of that with even this one here. A lot of layering of photographs. There's a picture here and another picture here, and then this bicycle path is cut out, and so there's a lot of layering, graphical layering. And the last one is, especially when you deal with architecture, there is some kind of human or some kind of thing that anchors you in the context. Where am I? Oh, it's a street and it's whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, this is a section of a building. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the way that you get from this level to that level. You know what I mean? There are people, if you notice, if even this one, there are people, there are cars, there are things that anchor you into some kind of environment. All right. This one is one of my favorites as well. And guys, you can check this out. Google this. Well, you're going to have to do it for your final project because you're going to do a hybrid image using the model, you know. And I want to encourage you that you investigate and, you know, just check out some existing hybrid images that's there. Anyway, so let's try and make a hybrid image. I have a model here. I got this model from Warehouse. I didn't create it because I just want to use this as a kind of example. I want to give you the link to this model. Those who are here and you want to try out this whole hybrid image weirdness thing, let me share with Google Drive. Okay, hold on. Copy this. Right. I'm just putting it in a folder that you guys can access it. You don't have to go to Warehouse and download it. Let me save you that that trouble. All right. Anybody have the ability to do some SketchUp and Photoshop now? Anybody? Give me a raise of your hand if you have that capability with you now. Nobody? Okay, some
sorry,
people.
could you repeat what you said?
Anybody have like SketchUp ready, Photoshop ready? They can do some amount of
Oh, yeah.
Right, cool. All right. All right, come on. I'm waiting on this thing to finish. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna paste it on the mirror board. I'm gonna just create a board. I'm gonna create a big board here and just call it. Here we go. I'm going to title this one Architectural hybrid image collage. Right, and I'm gonna put some text here and I'm gonna say, let's make a collage. So right where you see this text on the mirror board, I'm gonna stick a link to that file so you can get it there. I'm also gonna stick it in the chat. Link to SketchUp model. So you can get it from anywhere. I'm going to stick a picture here so that you know what it looks like. That's it. All right. So those of you who want to follow along, you can get it from there. All right. So you can go on the mirror board under the tips and guides section over here, and where we're dealing with hybrid image collage, right? All right. So all right, so this is Photoshop that's here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to reset my workspace so it's back to normal. I put that over there, put this image here. All right, so the first thing we need to do, we're making this collage, right? And by the way, guys, I'm kind of freestyling this every year. I kind of make this up as I go along, so it may not be perfect, but we will do something. All right, so I'm looking at some stuff here, and let's say I want to just, you know, my objective, like these are some possible objectives that you might have for making a collage. You want to focus on a particular area, you want to focus on the form, you want to highlight framing, you want to frame out the building, maybe you want to highlight something to do with light, you know, shadows, that kind of stuff, something to do with nature, something to do with circulation. Like these are all themes that you can use as a anchor to create something interesting. So let's say, I'm going to use a puppet, like focus is perhaps a big one. So let's say I have this model here and I want to make a collage, a hybrid image collage with this. And what I'm trying to express is, maybe I'm just highlighting, like one of my favorite features with this model is, like, I love this whole two-story kind of recessed entrance. There's a little skylight at the top. You have this double high window to the front, and you know, like, let's say that I love that and I want to like highlight it, you know, I want to just express it as a hybrid image collage. So first thing I would do, I would kind of what I call ideate, like what do I want to create. Now this is going to be a bit funny for you guys because this is in my head. In my head I can see what I think I want it to look like, but you can't see what's in my head. So I'm going to encourage you, for your hybrid image, if you're following along with this exercise, to come up with your own main theme. You know, maybe you want to highlight the window and it's about light. You know, come up with something that you want to use as your main theme. For me, it's like, it's just the structure and this little part here, this facade. Let's say that that's something that I want to highlight. So what I normally do first is kind of sketch out my ideas. I'm going to attempt to use the mouse, so forgive me. Okay, right. So let's say that Can I get a straight line? No. I think I can use this. Oh yeah, okay. Let me try it. Let me see if that works out. So let's say I have the building like this. Let me try and draw a line like that. Let's make it a bit thicker. Let's make it, I guess black is fine. All right. So where is that tool? This one, right? Let me try and see if I can sketch this with lines. Okay. Let me just restyle it. See how that works out. Black, make it thin. All right, so let's say I have my roof here and I have the other roof. My building looks something like this. And what I'm thinking in my head is that I want to have like this dramatic perspective, like, so this is my building there, and make it a little smaller. Might be running out of space here, right? And what I think I want to do is I want to kind of have this wall. So there's this wall that's here. Then I want to have this floor. Let me use another color. Use green. But the floor is kind of coming out of the screen, kind of like that. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to use that same thing. Like, imagine that big red box. Who was it? Was it that Austin was saying that he thought was interesting? I'm going to have something like that because I want to highlight the front of this building. So maybe I want to do something like this. I want to layer this kind of overlay around the front. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, I'm seeing it in my head. I don't know if you, Duncan, are you seeing what I'm seeing in my head?
Yes, but also no. What's going on?
Well, that's exactly like in my head. Like I'm remembering this and say, oh, you know, this is kind of interesting, and it have the thing, and but then I also like how this one here kind of come out of this. It comes out of the frame. This is pretty cool. Comes out of the frame a little bit. So I kind of want something like that. Now, everybody come up with ideas differently, guys. This is me. I draw this madness on a piece of paper, but in my head, I think I have an idea what it would look like. So you just have to bear with me. I'm trying to express a little. I'm trying to give you some examples of where my brain is at. And when you guys are doing a hybrid image, it's good for you to get some inspiration images, get some. You know what I mean? Go on the internet, go on Pinterest, find some stuff that seems to be aligned with what your main idea is. Remember, my main idea is that I want to focus on check. I'm back. Yeah. I want to focus on that, on the I guess you could say the facade. So it's somewhere between focus area and form. Remember, I tell you, I love this area right here. I kind of like it. So I want to kind of bring that out in what I'm trying to express. Now, a part of when you're creating a hybrid image, part of it is coming up with a direction. And that's all you need. The rest of it, you're just playing. You're playing with SketchUp, you're playing with Photoshop, in Illustrator, whatever program you're using, because you don't really know what the end result going to look like. It's not like you're doing a floor plan and you sketch out your floor plan and you know that it's going to have a bedroom, a bathroom, the bathroom going to be beside the bedroom and what. In this case, you kind of have a rough idea, but when it comes to color and texture and all of the interesting things that will make the thing interesting, like you don't fully know what it will be yet, but you know that you want it to express this area. That's what I know. So, with that said, yeah. So with that said, I have my model and I have my idea. Now, usually in architecture, chances are you'll have a model already. You have something working with. You're not just creating stuff on a blank paper. You have the room that you're trying to do. You have the building that you're trying to express. What I normally suggest for architecture is that you build it out. Have your main character, in this case, the character is the building, have that in 3D. And that's one of the beauty of having stuff in 3D, because you can play with it. So, all right, let me bring up my my model here. So this is my model that I can play with. Now, I know already I want to have a view like this, but I want that dramatic view. I want it to be like you know, like the perspective, you know what I mean? Like very dramatic in its perspective. You know, I know I don't want it to be flat, and I'm not going for this. I want it to be more that, maybe. You know what I mean? So right away, I know that in my SketchUp model, anybody remember the feature that I can use to adjust my perspective?
So what was the question?
I wanted to have that dramatic perspective. Remember that was in my sketch here. So already I kind of know that I want to have a dramatic perspective in this case in SketchUp. Anybody remembers where that feature is?
Sir, it's in filter.
It's in what?
I think it's in filter.
No, in SketchUp. I'm in SketchUp now.
Oh, SketchUp.
Right.
No.
So I would need to go to camera, and I would want to go to no, I'll go to view, no, camera, and go to field of view. Can stretch it out. Like, look at this. Look at this, guys. You can get really insane with it. So yeah, I know that I want it to be like, you know. Now, my idea is that I want to take my model, put it in Photoshop, and Photoshop is where it would be my playground, where I want to mess with and do this red thing here. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but I know it you know, I have some inspiration of what I wanted to highlight this area. All right, so I kind of have the view here. Now, what I want to do is I want to change this to 2-point perspective, and then that will ensure that the lines are all vertical. And I think this is what I want. I don't know yet. Turn it around a little bit. Maybe go more to the top. I don't even know. Yeah. I don't know if I want to see the skylight here. Maybe I do. Or maybe I want to be more like this. You know what? I think I want it more like that. That's the thing about a hybrid image, guys. Like, you kind of know, but you don't really know what you do. But you're kind of just playing around a little bit with what you think you want. So I'm going to go to 2-point perspective so that it's straight. All right, next, what I want to do is, let me turn on my tray, right? And let me undock it because I don't have much space in this zoom thing. So I'm going to drag it over here. All right, so this is my image here. All right, so I don't think I want the lines. Usually, so what I would want to do, I would go to style, I would go to edit, and I would turn off profile and edges. So notice I'm not getting any edges now. I don't want the background, so I want to go to background and I want to turn off sky and, well, yeah. Let's make the background white. Make it white. I don't want the axis. So I'm going to go over to here and under modeling settings, and I want to turn off model axis. So all I'm getting is just my raw model. Do I even want this here? I don't know yet. Maybe I don't want the ground. As I said, guys, this partially comes with just you experimenting on and off. Hold on. Is it frozen? Why am I not clicking the ground? Alright, wait, I still click the ground. Okay. Alright, I love this and I want to save this view. So what I need to do is I need to go to scenes. And I want to click the little plus here. And then this will save my scene exactly as how it is. So when I move around and I lost the view, I can just click back scene here and I'll get it back exactly like how I left it. If you guys remember that from our last tutorial, how we use scenes. All right, so I think I want to get rid of the ground. I don't know why it's not clicking. There's something up with oh. Okay, there we go. I think I want to remove the ground. I'll leave that little part. I'll delete this part. Right. So yeah, I think this is fine. So let me go back to my scene. Great. Yeah, this is good. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to export this as a 2D graphic. And I'm going to save it as a PNG, right? Anybody can remind me, why do I want to save it as a PNG? Who remembers?
I think it's because of the background. It's invisible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I want the background to be transparent, right? Here. Come on. Come on. Oh. Hold on. I'm just waiting on the computer to load. Okay. All right. So, let me save it in this folder here. So let's call this house. And I'm gonna go to options and I want to save it with a decent resolution. So I put mine at 6,000. Maybe that's a little overkill, but yeah, don't forget to do that. Because if not, SketchUp will do it at the size of your screen, which can be a little slow. Which can be a little low res, right? Am I getting an error? Okay. Okay, good, right. All right, now I'm gonna go to, now the other thing I want to do is, whenever you're doing hybrid images, especially when you're using SketchUp, a good practice is to try to save out different versions of your model. So one of the ideas I have is that where the red intersects the model at the front, I want that to be like in, you know, to show texture. But then behind it, like these areas here, I don't want to show any texture there because I want to highlight the front. So in order to do that, I need to go back into my styles. Here we go. Go to not materials, go to styles, go to edit, and then let's go to face, and then I want to change it to white. You're not seeing anything now because I don't have the profiles on, so this is the profiles now. I can turn on edges. So now I'm getting a black and white model. Some other cool stuff with SketchUp is that I can turn on extensions, which is pretty cool. Let me put it to 10 so you can see it. You guys are seeing these little, put it to 20. Are you guys seeing those extensions that look all nice and sketchy?
Yes, sir.
It's pretty cool. Also, I can turn on endpoints and they will get a little bulb at the end. I don't want to show this. Those. Yeah, I don't want to show that. Yeah, that's fine. All right, now I'm going to save this. Always remember to save your scenes, guys. So I'm going to save this as scene 2, and it's asking me, do I want to create a new style? And I say yes. So I have scene 2, and then I have scene 1. So scene 1 is this. So even if I move it around, I can always just click scene 2 and it just go back exactly like how I left it, which is pretty cool because I want it to be in the exact same position because I want to erase part of this image to show the other part. As I say, I genuinely don't know what it's going to look like yet, guys. I hope it looks nice. I do this every year and usually it comes out somewhat acceptable. I used a different building last year. Every year I use a different building. I give myself a challenge, right? So let me save this out, and I'm going to save this as house outline. And this is one of the reasons why I think SketchUp is a good tool, because you can go back in styles, change out the style, hide something, show something, and then save it out again. And every time you save it, like it just gives you more stuff to work with. Like suppose you wanted to create a version that has X-ray mode where you're seeing inside of the building. This looks pretty cool. I don't know if I'll use it, but let me just save out that one as well. So let me call that house X-ray. Right? And this is why hybrid images are kind of cool, because it's a little bit experimental. You're kind of making up stuff as you go on. All right, so I'm gonna jump into Photoshop now, and I'm gonna go to File, New. Let me work with a letter size, horizontal, create. Cool. Then, let me grab my files. So, okay, let me just do it the long way. No, let me do it the short way. So here's my files here that I'm working with. I have my house X-ray, house PNG. I'm gonna just drag those into Photoshop. And let's maximize this. I'm gonna click yes, yes, and yes. All right, pretty cool. So I have these 3 styles. And if you look, like you can see, this one is kind of semi-transparent. That's the X-ray one. I think I'm gonna end up using the X-ray one. It's pretty cool. All right, so now I can just line them up over each other because I want to get them aligned. What I can do is select all of the layers and just choose align center and align middle center. Now everybody is aligned. So if I turn off one layer, I'm seeing the layer below. Pretty cool. All right, so now let me make this a little smaller. And now you see, now I can try and visualize my idea a little bit more. Because this is kind of random, is a good idea to save and more save, just in case you go down a road where you realize, oh crap, this don't look good. So I'm going to save this. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna save this in this folder here. I'm gonna save it as hybrid image. Come on. hybrid image 2025. That's, yeah, the new one. All right, so if you remember my idea at first, sketch. Right. So the idea I had is that I wanted to have this kind of thing here, and I wanted to have a wall that's somewhere here. And then I wanted to, let me use a different color. I wanted to have this red thing here that kind of highlight the facade here. Remember that was my whole idea. And then anything behind the facade, no, I want to not focus on it because I wanted to highlight the facade. So, let's see how we can get that. So, I'm going to drag this down here. All right, now to get these shapes, right, guys, we can just mess around with literally the marquee tool. I'm going to create a new layer. Let me call this ground. And I'm just going to grab my lasso tool, not marquee, lasso, polygonal lasso tool, and I'm going to just draw an interesting ground base right here, all the way back here, like that. So it's going to highlight like this, and all I'm going to do is fill this with a color. Now, in order for me to choose a color, what I want to do is go to swatches, and I want to choose one of these themes. So maybe pastel, there's light, there's all kind of themes I can choose. I'm just going to grab pastel because it's there. So meaning I'm just going to grab some colors inside of this to work with, so I don't have to be making up any colors. So let me grab maybe green, likewise the ground, and I'm going to grab my fill tool, which is here, paint bucket tool. I'm going to fill that green. I'm going to drop it behind everything, right? So it would look something like that. Let me see. I want to put, remember I wanted to have this interesting wall here. You know what? Let's imagine that that was some kind of textured wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump onto Google. Let's roll the dice. And I'm just going to say concrete texture. Oops. Find the images. Now, if you're searching for random images on Google, definitely go over to tools and go to large size so you can get some large images. And these look maybe good. Click on this one. And let me just... Now, what I normally do is I say, I can just save image. And I'm going to save it in that same folder. Let me just name it. Now, you can do this with any random texture. It could be timber, it could be bamboo, it could literally be anything. So while I'm in that folder, where is it? Concrete here. I'm going to drag it over in Photoshop and check this out, guys. This is when you're doing a hybrid image collage, majority of the time, this is what you're doing. You drag in some kind of interesting texture, go over to image, edit. I'm trying to find the long way because I normally do the shortcut. Oh, and go to distort. Here you go. And we just have to make this up. So I think no, I want this to be shorter because remember I want this part here to stick out, so I want this to be shorter. This must have more perspective because it, you know, it's kind of crazy perspective. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool, man. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Gonna choose OK here. Now, the good thing about this is it's a smart layer. So what that means is that even though I click OK, I can go back to edit and go to distort, and yep, I get it back and I can just continue editing. So that is pretty cool. All right. Guess what? As I'm building this, I'm even coming up with more crazy ideas. You know what I want to do? I want to put a walkway that goes up to the door here and make the walkway just stick out like this, right? I didn't have that idea before, but then as I put random things together, you just end up getting more ideas. That's the thing about a hybrid image collage. It's kind of inspiring. So I'm going to put like let me make it timber. So I'm gonna look for something like I don't know. Give me some idea, guys. What can I make this deck in? Let's say, let me tell you what I want to do. I want to put a little walkway like this, kind of sticking off like that. What material can I use for this? Anybody? Any suggestions? I'm thinking timber, but it can be anything because this is imaginative. It could be water. Any ideas from Carla? Shanique, you're about to tell me an idea?
I was going to say timber.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's kind of okay. You
I
could
was
say
going to say
something.
brick. I don't know.
Ah, brick. Yeah, you could even make it fabric. Guys, this is imaginative. Like, you can literally make up. You could literally make up anything. You know what? All right, brick. So I'm gonna say brick texture. See what I can find. I would need it to be pretty big though, because I'm going to stretch it. Let me switch this to large, so it will show me large images. Ah, this one is pretty good because it's already long. So let me save this image. And I'm going to do the same thing again that I did a while ago. I'm going to grab it from the folder. Let's see. Oh, crap. I didn't name it brick. Always remember to name your stuff, guys. I'm going to call it brick. Come on. And I'm going to just drag it in. All right. And I'm going to do the same thing again. This time I'm going to put it in front of everybody. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and go to Distort. And I'm going to just make it flat. I'm going to carry it all the way here. All right. At least we need to try to get the perspective right. But it don't have to. Remember, guys, there's no rules here, so you don't even have to make the perspective right. There we go. All right, nice. Now, notice even with this brick, you know, this section here needs to kind of cut off so that it can look like real. And the way that we can do that is we can use a mask. I think that's going to be the best way I suggest. And to do that, what we do is we just click this mask layer here. Now remember, when you're doing hybrid images, it's all about the layering. 'Cause all we're doing, we're just layering different stuff on top of each other. It doesn't have to match. The lighting don't have to match. The colors don't have to make sense. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make this brick purple because I can, right? But anyway, to fix this area here, what I would want to do, I would want to create a mask. So I would put this icon here to create a layer mask. And it's going to create this white area here. And then what you do in this area, whatever is black, will erase the brick. Whatever is white will put it back. So what do I mean by that? If I go to a paintbrush tool, let me make this a little bigger. If I switch this to black paint, it's gone. If I switch it to white paint, it's back. Everybody see that? Right? You have to be on the mask layer for that to happen. All right, guys? So that is using a mask. So all I have to do here is switch this to black paint. And voila. It doesn't have to even be neat. I can just freestyle it. So then that is looking a little nicer, right? Yeah, so let's even make this brick purple. Why not? Because I want to lead the eyes towards here. So what I can do to do that, I can use adjustment layers. Okay, let me go to image adjustments and let me change hue and saturation, and I can change the hue. There we go. Purple brick. Now, the other thing that you use a lot when you're doing a hybrid images is line work. Remember, we talk about abstract. Let me go back to my point here. All right. So we chose the theme. We know that we want to highlight an area. The techniques that we're using. So we used outline. We went in SketchUp and we used an outline, and we're not using photorealistic. We were not using any shadows, right? In terms of abstract now is when we're going to add some lines and shapes. But these lines and shapes that we add need to remember our objective. Our objective is that we wanted to kind of highlight this facade, right? So let's talk about that red square. So let me see. What I think I want to do is create a new layer, call it red. Let me just call it focus, right? And I am going to just use the rectangular lasso, and I'm going to draw where I think I want that rectangle to be. So maybe I want it to be here. Come on. I want it to be like, maybe like this. No, you know what? I'm gonna make it line up with this on this side. And hold on, let me go again. I can always change this later, guys, so it don't matter. Yeah, I think I want it line up like that. And all I'm going to do is fill this with a color. So I'm going to choose another color here from my pastel, maybe red, orange, maybe. And I'm just going to use my paint bucket and fill it with a color. All right. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. All right, let's put this behind because I want this to be behind. That looks interesting. Let's put it behind the wall. No, it looks weird. Let's put it behind the ground. All right, cool. That looks cool. But wait, I don't want to actually. I want the rest of this building to be like transparent. So what I'm going to do is, remember that I have a house layer here and I have this drawing layer behind. So let's make this part here the textured and then everything else black and white. So to do that, what I would need to do is to create a mask for the house layer. So I'm going to click the mask tool again. I remember how the mask tool works. It creates this white overlay here, and all I have to do is make sure that I'm on this white layer here, and once it's highlighted and I draw with anything black, it erases. Anything white, it puts it back. But you have to be on this layer here. So I make sure that I'm on the layer. And what I'm going to do is I could use my eraser tool. So for example, I could use my I could use my paint tool. Because remember, you're not erasing, you're drawing black paint on the mask layer. So if I draw black paint here, you see what's happening? It's actually erasing that layer. So I think what I want to do, I want to erase like something like that. You know what I mean? So that I'm left with that. And then this is in the red. But obviously that's not very neat. So one way that I can do that's very neat is you can use your polygonal lasso tool, and I'm going to highlight everything that I want to keep. Do I want to keep this? All right, let me keep this. So I'm drawing a mask. I'm drawing this line around everything I want to keep. I still don't quite know where I'm going with this, guys. I tell you, I'm just making it up as I go on. All right, good. So now that I have that, now when I go to my paint tool, I can only erase what is inside the mask. Now, I don't want to do this. I want to do the opposite. So let me go back to my lasso tool, and I'm going to right click and choose inverse. So now it's selecting everything else except inside here. And all I have to do now is go for my paint tool, and I'm now painting black ink, but on the mask layer. That's the key thing. You have to make sure you're on the mask layer. So there you go. So now I can erase the rest of this. All right, great. So let me deselect. So I'm not selecting anything. All right. It's kind of there. It's kind of what I wanted. What I think I'm missing is some line work. I think I'm missing some line work. You know what? Because I don't think this is highlighted enough. So what I want to do is I'm going to go for my line tool here. I'm going to make sure that I'm on pixels, and my line weight is 10. Let me see. Okay, good. I want to create a new layer. I don't want to draw on the mask layer. I want to create a new layer, and I want to call this line work. And I'm going to reset this so that it's now black again. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a line. No, guess what? I'm going to make this line purple. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it purple. And I'm going to draw this line like so. Maybe. And so. And so. So. So now it's kind of highlighting this area. I'm going to make another layer here. I want to kind of outline some of this other stuff here. So like the wall, maybe I want to draw some line work like that. And I definitely want to highlight this walkway here, because this walkway is helping to, oh, hold on, this is behind. So let's put this in front of the walkway, which is here. All right. So let me draw it on this layer. So it's in front. There we go. Then I'm trying to determine where I go next. What do you think, guys? How is it coming?
Sir,
Is it
it's
getting
coming together.
it's getting a bit crazy?
No.
I mean,
Sir,
it's supposed to be. It's this is why I tell you that half of this is experimental. Like if you kind of have the general direction is that I wanted to highlight this, but the rest of it is experimental. You're experimenting with texture, line work, layering, and you're just building it up layer after layer after layer to try and get it. You know what I think? I think maybe this, because this is pastel, I'm going to, in order to try different colors for this focus rectangle here, I'm going to go into my blending options for that layer. And I don't think I had shown you guys blending options. I guess I can introduce it to you now. So what that is, it basically brings up a bunch of added effects that you can add only to this layer. So for example, one of those effects is color overlay. This is where you can overlay anything on that layer with a color, and this is that color here. So, you know, if I want to experiment with red, ooh, that's very red, maybe. You know what I mean? Like we could explore maybe black, and this is where the exploring part come. Well, not white, you know, maybe orange. Yeah, cool. Maybe. It would need something else orange to kind of complement it though. You know what I mean? And you know what? You know what else I want to do? I want to use an overlay. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, this focus rectangle layer, and I'm going to put it on top. Oops, I didn't duplicate it. Hold on. To duplicate it, yeah. Good. Oops, right. Oops, yeah. And I'm going to put it on top of everything. Then I'm going to use, let me zoom in, show you this one, guys. I'm going to use a overlay. I'm going to use a, let's use multiply. And what that will do for me is it will kind of create a transparent. Oh, it's not doing it because it is because I use a overlay effect on it. Oh, all right. So yeah, the reason this isn't working is because I am adding a overlay effect with the blending options. So what I need to do is I need to get rid of this effect, and to do that I can just rasterize this layer. I can flatten it so it no longer has that effect. So I can just go to rasterize. And notice it has now lost all of those effects, and it's as if I had drawn an orange rectangle to begin with. So now I can add the overlay, and if you notice with the overlay, it is kind of just masking all of this in orange, which is kind of interesting. Maybe what I would do is just overlay just this entrance part. And this is the experimental part where I'm just trying different things to meet back my original objective, which is that I want this part here to overlay, to highlight. Maybe I can angle this using the same skew tool like that. Cool. Maybe. All right. Now I can play with some other things. This is getting a little dark. Maybe I can brighten it. But let's remember the other component of this. So we added graphical layering, abstract lines. The last thing, we need to bring it back to human and contextual. And this is where the silhouettes come in. So let's go back to Google and let's look for, let's look for silhouette of walking people. Images. We definitely want to make it transparent. I No, let's see. And guess what? This is where you can even make it. You don't even have to make it a silhouette. You could do watercolor. So now it's even look even more interesting. Rainbow colors. Like I'm not sure, but okay. This one looks interesting. Okay, remember, I need to choose transparent because I don't want to have to cut out anything. Of course, that reduces my options, but this one here looks pretty cool. And it said that it's transparent. Yes, it is. So let me save this. And I'm going to call this people. I also want some silhouette of, I'm going to say outline silhouette of trees. Notice how I'm getting all my stuff from Google, just random Google, guys. I'm not even using any kind of this is interesting. That's water. That's a bit cartoony, but okay. Line outline silhouette. Oh, did I put walking trees? Wow. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, let me do. I'm gonna say, textural trees elevation. Let me see what I find here, and of course, I want it to be transparent. Cool, nice. This one is kind of good. Let me save that. They don't have watermarks on it. Yeah, let me just grab some of these. And it doesn't even have to be, you could even take something abstract. Let me try abstract. All right, don't forget transparent. I wish you could just save that option. I love this. But is it really transparent? Am I that lucky? Maybe not. So sometimes you will get I think these would look really cool, but this isn't the original, so you would probably have to do some work to cut them out. I don't feel like doing any work like that to cut them out right now, but those look pretty cool. What about this one? This one is nice. Cool. Let me save this one. All right, guys. And let me save this one. This one is pretty cool. Be surprising how much things you can really get directly from Google. Like, we're not even trying too hard here. And we're definitely not paying for stuff. But there's stuff all over the internet. You know what? I don't like this purple anymore. I think it should be black. This line. Let me see this line work. Yeah. And then again, when I turn it off, it kind of even look nicer without the line work. I'll play with it some more and see. By the way, where I added this multiply effect, there are other effects that you can play with. So for example, can do color burn. This one is screen. That one is kind of interesting. Look at. Let me just leave that for now. All right, let me just get in those trees. How are we doing on time? Not too bad. All right. We should call them tree. Call this tree 1. Come on, save. Three, 2. All right, carry them in. Okay, choose OK and choose OK. All right, so they will go on their own layer as well. And we can kind of decide what we should do with this. Like maybe because this is low res, I put it all the way in the background. I'll put this layer all the way at the back. Maybe like that. And then this layer here, I can put this one at the front. You know what would be cool? I want to use this and frame this image. So I will kind of, can I do that? Can I achieve that? Right, so it's kind of like the image maybe disappears behind this tree, as you can see here, so that this is the edge of the image. So in order to get that, what I can do for here with the ground, I call it ground, I can just put a mask on that and use my eraser tool and kind of just erase that there. So it's, you know, it's kind of starting behind the tree. I can do the same thing for my wall. I have a bunch of layers here. Let me just carry this up some more. Yeah. Where is my wall? I'm going to put another mask. So notice that I'm using mask now to just kind of add those final touches. Yeah, so it's like that concrete kind of emerges behind the tree. That's pretty cool. The line work, I still think this line work around the frame should be black, so I'm going to fix that. So on my line work layer, I'm going to just add a blending option, just what I did before, and my blending options, I'll go to color overlay and I'll change it. Oh, okay, orange looks kind of nice. What do you think, guys? That was totally buck-ups. Any ideas, guys? What do you think? All right, I get in some amount of thumbs up. But guess what? You could even experiment. Like we could make it red, black. Like, as I say, guys, this whole hybrid image thing is, you know, you're partially even experimenting. So there you go. I think this yellow here is not within the composition of what I would want. So that is this section here. I like the overlay on here, but I don't like that this part is kind of weird. So what I would do for that, I would add a mask and I would use my lasso tool and just highlight this area and use my pencil tool. So I'm on the mask layer now and I'm just drawing black ink all over it to erase it. Right there, so deselect. Right, somewhat better. I think what is missing now is if we could outline some of these areas in here. And I think we can get that from one of our layers. Like we did have an outline layer that we saved. Let me pull this to the front. So you remember this layer, guys? House outline. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add a screen to that. There we go. No, multiply. And what multiply is doing now, it's letting the white areas in that layer disappear. So it's bringing back the black that we have here. So go back here. So now this is reading a little nicer. Down here is still weird, but I mean, definitely, I think what would be good is if maybe even some of this is purple. So it's almost like this purple is carrying up to here, you know. But I think I want to stop because I'm going to keep adding and adding. The last thing that I would say you could add, like if this was some kind of cover page or something with text, you can also add text to it as well. So let's say that I want to put some text there. Let me just suppose it was some kind of cover or something. Then I would write maybe the word design or something. I don't know. Or maybe my name. I'm not sure. And what I would do here is let me see. I think I would adjust the kerning of the text a little bit. So maybe make it closer. Maybe further. Like, I don't know. I'm making this up, guys. I'm making it up as I go along. I have no plan whatsoever. How about we make this white? Yeah. How about we make it white? Let me see. Let's double click and make this white. Or maybe blue? I don't know. Here. Oh, actually I like the yes, that's it right there. That's it right there. Yep. Design. I mean, it could be my name or whatever else that's there. All right, you know what? I'm gonna stop. I don't want to. I'm gonna stop now. Right, Carla. I should stop now, right? Don't add any more, because this is just an endless rabbit hole of possibilities.
Yes, sir. I think you should stop.
All right, guys. So what I'm trying to say is, I know that by demonstrating your ideas and my ideas are totally different. But what I wanted to highlight here is, let me take a screenshot of this. And I'm going to just go back to the mirror board here. And I'm going to drop it right here. All right. What was it? Austin, what you said? The red make a little more sense now?
Yes, sir.
Right. So in my head, I wanted it to look something like that, but I didn't necessarily know the effects or what I wanted to choose. But the guiding light is that I know I wanted it to highlight the facade of this building, like this interesting area here, because that was the theme, the objective, the narrative, what I wanted to do. All right. And so it's kind of started from there. We had a main subject. In this case, it was the SketchUp model. So whenever you're doing a hybrid image in architecture, I mean, it can be a photo. You guys saw examples of photos, because a hybrid image can do anything. But I'm focusing right now on your design. Let's say that is something that you are creating with a design. Then you should have a model, something you can rotate, flip. Because guess what? I could have gone for maybe something that's more of a front view. And because I have the model, I could just turn it to a front view. Now, because I'm using SketchUp, I can do I can mess around with the lines and the shading and the edges, and I can save multiple versions of that. And then I can play with it in the program to get whatever effects I want to get to. And then what you're going to realize is that you're going to come up with a style. Like, if I look on all the other ones that I've created in the past, I would say, yeah, it kind of looked like it was done by the same person. And that's what's going to happen to you when you create your own hybrid image, your own expression of whatever you're expressing. You're going to realize that you're going to develop a style eventually. All right, guys. Any questions about hybrid image? Was my attempt at explaining it, did it help? Or Raheem, is it still weird?
I'm really not sure what I'd say. Probably it's just different design philosophy. But I do have a question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
For hybrid imaging, is it possible for you to just not change the building itself, but like the background?
Yeah, it can be as wild or as conservative as you want it to be, but it needs to be expressing something. That's the whole reason for it, for being a hybrid image collage. Because remember when I show you those examples of art, it's
Yes,
not
sir.
solely art. It's not crazy wiggly lines that, you know, but at the same time it's a mixture. So the word hybrid means that you are mixing different things together. So if you're not mixing, then it's not hybrid. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Now,
So
another thing,
go ahead.
I did something while you were also doing this as well, while also looking at your lecture.
Sure.
I was just wondering,
You want
you like give me a
you want to
feedback?
put it on the
Submit
board?
everyone.
Yeah. Let me open the board and you just do a screen. You can just copy paste.
You just sent a screenshot in the group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, cool, lovely. All right, I'll just drop it right here. All right, cool. Let's get some feedback. What do you guys think? Anybody? Did anybody else try this, by the way? Anybody else did their own version or something interesting, crazy? No? What do you think, Khalifa?
Sir, I really like it and I really like your design. It really came together. You know, at first I thought that it was kind of it was going downhill, but now that you see the final result, it's looking good.
All right. Raim, I'm glad that you attempted this. By the way, guys, normally this is a class activity that is graded, but I'm not doing it this year around because, you know, with the timing and everything, we normally do this in class and then I leave you and then you show me at the end of class something interesting or crazy. But this time around, as I say, guys, I'm going to reduce some of the class activities. So what I would say, Raim, about this one, with a hybrid image, you remember that question you asked me if you could just leave the building fully intact?
Yes, sir.
You can, but this is anchoring me to reality, which if that is your objective, then that's fine. The background is making me imaginative, but the building is anchoring me to reality. And usually with a hybrid image, you're trying to get away from reality. And the reason for that is if you're too close to reality, you will be judged as such. So what do I mean by that? This building it looks like a building. So you would start to say, hold on, is this on a hillside? And I see the background, you know what I mean? It's like your brain is fighting because it's seen some part is real and some part is abstract. But with a hybrid image, it's almost like you want to trend more to abstract, but because the person who is interpreting it, the lecturer, whoever is doing it, you want their brain to go somewhere else than real. You know, if you remember when we looked on this image here, oops, no, not that. Right, remember when we looked at, come on. When we looked on this image, like this one is a photo. It's a different medium. Can't remember, hybrid image is a combination of different mediums. So this one is primarily photo collages with different things together. But it is kind of playing a little bit with reality and abstract at the same time. Like if you were to judge this on reality or abstract, maybe just this little part here is reality, but then everything, it have maybe like 30% reality. So a hybrid image is kind of abstract. And whenever you're using your design, a building, in this case, I gave you a building, but imagine if it was your studio project. You want to abstract it some more. You know what I mean? And how you know what to abstract? It's based on your narrative. It's based on what you want to communicate. So let's say, for example, you wanted to communicate. All right, look on this wall here, right? Imagine this wall was some interesting material. Imagine this was your design and this wall was some stone that came from some rare place. And you wanted that to be like a hook or a cornerstone for your expression. You know, you could just abstract everything else and highlight that. I don't know if I explained it. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, sir.
So I would say when you're doing your hybrid image, because we're going to tackle that for your final project, when you're doing that, try and abstract your building, but you don't need to, like, I don't know, you don't need to like smoke weed or something to get your mind all psychedelic. You're trying to abstract your idea, right? And this is why you come up with an idea first. You come up with a narrative first. So like, remember when we started, it's like, okay, I want to highlight the facade because I think it's really interesting. That is the idea. How you achieve it, you can go crazy and wild as you want. That's the best way I can explain it. Anything else is experiment. So you see like how you experimented a while ago? You got a background image, you put some graphics in the foreground. That is great because that is you experimenting with these things. And the more you experiment with it, the better you're going to be. All right? And you guys, you know, so when you see me show you these examples that are here, and you look at them and say, oh, that's so cool. But then when you're trying to come up with something, you're like, okay, how do I, you know what I mean? It just comes out of you just trying it every time. And after a while, you're going to have a language. You're going to be creating some awesome stuff. You know what I mean? That, you know, your lecturers look, and it's not a rendering. It's not something that you went into D5 and or Twinmotion and you created. It's something that you kind of a mush of your ideas, but it's abstracted and it shows an idea. You know what I mean? Just practice it, guys. I'm just giving you a little taste of it, but this is something that you have to practice all the way up. And when you get to, for those of you that even go into masters, it's even more, you're going to have to dig deep. Even deeper. But we're just practicing now, guys. So I want you to use the model I gave you for the class activity. I'm just about done now. So I want you to use the rest of the class time. Use the model I gave you. Look at some of the inspirations like what I showed you, you know, here today. You can even rewatch the video and kind of look back at how did this squiggly text turn into this? You know, because it wasn't planned, it was totally random, but it had a guiding light. All right. And I want you to go ahead and try one of these. All right, guys, with the rest of the class time. All right, what do you say, Rochelle? You can manage it?
Sir, I can try. I started, but I did get lost somewhere, so I'll have to rewatch the video.
Right, and the interesting thing is there is no boundaries. Like, you can get a flying dolphin or a dragon. I don't know, like, you can just go wild with anything you want, but you just have to remember, what was your guiding light? What is it that you wanted to say in the first place? Is it, and remember, I have some examples here. Is it that you wanted to show the form? Was that your original intent? Is it that you wanted to just show a idea montage, just mushing ideas together? That would be something like even this. Like, look at this. Like, this is just a mush of different ideas. You know, maybe this person was saying, hey, my building that I'm going to create, it's going to breathe. The building is going to breathe. It's going to have plants. It's going to be made of glass, and people are going to come there and be happy. Like, this is what this hybrid image is saying. Just from a mush of ideas. Like, there's no building in this. It's just a mush of different ideas coming together, but it communicates everything that the person would want to bring across in the building, right? So don't forget this, guys. This is super important. If you don't have this, then you're just going to end up with random flying pigs and weird stuff that has no purpose. Okay, that's enough of me rambling today, guys. So for those of you who probably came in after, as I said, this is the second to last class. I think officially classes would have ended next week. I think next week would have been our last class. In order to counteract what has happened with Melissa, we are going to modify. I'm going to modify the final project, and I'm going to reduce the workload by about maybe 60%. And how that is going to happen, in the final project, you were to create a model, and instead of creating a model, you will be allowed to use the model that you created from this current assignment. So that means for the final project, you would not need to create any model. All right? You would still have to do the other things, but you don't have to create a model. So that is our approach. Next week, we will discuss the final project in details. For now, guys, please, this week, you must finish the long time assignment pre-Melissa. Remember that one? The poster. That need to be finished and done already. And everybody should be working on their assignment, which is 25%, guys. Assignment is 25%. Not to mention, you need the model from your assignment to do your final project, which is 40%. All right? So, guys, these two things alone will make you pass. Come on. Just get it done. All right? As I said, would be easy on the deadlines, so we won't have any reduction in marks for the deadline. But you still have to hand it in. Right? And by next week, I will have an idea of when the cutoff point will be for entering grades. But if you are not on that train, if I don't mark your work by that time, right, and you need DDM to progress forward, guys. All right, so try and see what you can do. Okay? All right, that is me for today with this very small class. As usual, the recording will be there. It would be good if you could be a great classmate, and if they ask you what you did today, you give people a rundown, or just in case for those who don't have access to the internet, maybe they're not able to watch the video recap. You know, if we can help out each other and say, oh, we did some crazy images in class today, hybrid image. Here's the model. You know, try and do some interesting thing with it, because it's going to come on the final project. All right. Okay, guys, that is me today. Any questions before we go?
Sir, I just have one question. For the SketchUp assignment 1, we can create our own components, right? Like the windows, the doors, because I'm not able to gain access to 3D warehouse.
Oh, I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay, that's
yeah. As a matter of fact, the default is that you create it, not download it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But I don't have a problem if you don't. You know, there's a criteria that marks for the model accuracy, so I would say to create it. You know, I would default to that.
Okay, I got you, sir.
All right, guys. It was great having you. Stay safe. I will see you next week.
Bye, sir.
Okay, bye.